From hospital to Gen Z and now to the academia. Our next session is by Professor Sri Muthamizhechelvan. He is Vice Chancellor of SRM Institute. I would like to request Professor Muthamizhechelvan to be on the stage. The Vice Chancellor, SRM Institute, holds a PhD in Material Science from Anna University, Chennai, and is a recognized guest professor at Shizuoka University, Japan. His areas of research are nanoscience and nanotechnology. He has 185 publications to his credit. Wow, this really deserves a big round of applause. He has been associated with SRM Institute since 1985 and has served in various academic and administrative roles for the past 35 plus years. He has published 171 papers, and his main area of research lies in nanoscience and technology. He is participative leader driving the vision of the university by initiating and executing path-breaking ideas, developing people, and devising strategies to transform the university to global standards. He is a strong advocate for transforming curriculum towards the design thinking approach based on problem solving that enhances the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation. He has led the institution on international and national accreditation processes like ABET, USA, IET UK, NBA, and NAC. Over to Dr. Muthamizhechelvan on how academia is preparing students with quality acumen. Thank you.
One and all present here. It's quite a pleasure for me to talk something about the quality in academia amidst all the industry personnel. I think I am the odd man out, but obviously all my students are working in different industries. I'll just take 2-3 minutes of my time to talk about SRM. We made a humble beginning in the year 1985 as engineering college, offering 3 undergraduate programs, namely civil engineering, mechanical, and computer science, with an intake of 180. Today, I can boldly claim that we are the largest private multidisciplinary university in India, which focuses on creating knowledge and disseminating knowledge in the goals set by the government of India. Our presence is in 5 locations, 4 in Tamil Nadu and 1 in the state of Uttar Pradesh. We have 6 faculties: Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, Science and Humanities, Law, Management, Agriculture. But for veterinary science, we have all programs under one roof at SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Little over 3,000 students are pursuing their doctoral program at SRM in 103 disciplines. Our student strength is little over 61,000 across all 5 campuses, 3,550 faculty, and we have little over 32 industry supported laboratories. We have grown from having an intake of about 180 per year in 1985 to about 15,000 per year in 2022. Now, quality always counts. Now, how do we ensure quality in academic institution? All along we have been focusing only on the marks. The more the memory capacity of a student, the more he gets the score, and obviously we used to award those students. But over a period of time, a lot of changes are taking place or have taken place, and the expectations are totally different. When I started my career in 1985, that was a different scenario, and today I see something different. Now, how do you drive these quality parameters consistently? And again, it has to meet the expectation of the stakeholders. Now, if you can come out with some sort of strategy to drive this consistently, then probably you are moving towards a better quality. If the measure becomes a target, it ceases to be no good measure. It ceases to be a good. So the expectations of stakeholders keeps on changing year on year, and therefore all our policies have to be fine-tuned. There may be new expectations coming in from the stakeholders, and therefore we need to work on those new challenges also. So earlier used to be a very comfortable place to work in an educational institution, but today it is not so. Unless you are abreast with the latest technology, you cannot stand in front of the students in the class. That is the biggest challenge. So it involves a continuous improvement, and to me, I feel that there are 8 stakeholders, important stakeholders for any higher education institution. Number 1 is the student and the parent. As I said, the expectations are different. They will look at what is beyond the curriculum. They will look at what are the other infrastructures available. Probably they will look at the hostel, and probably today they look at what is the bandwidth of the internet in that particular university. They can always manage without food, but definitely not without the Wi-Fi connectivity. If you look at the parent, they always look at the return of investment. Is there a value for money? If I happen to admit my ward in this institution, is it okay? Will he be getting good employment in a reputed company which pays a hefty package? So those are all have to be critically looked into. Next comes the industry. There is always a comment or observation saying that today's engineers are not ready for job, industry ready. So again, we have to focus on all the expectations of the industry. Earlier we used to feel that these higher education institutions, they impart knowledge, and after that they take care of their own path, get them trained and work for some company. But today it is not so. All those training that happened in the industry are pushed to the academics now. But if you look at the reality, the faculty members are not trained to send the students to the industry. We have been looking at only the books and then trying to imagine certain things and then teach to them. Things have changed now. Then the third one is about the regulating bodies and the government. We need to follow the norms that has been set by the regulating bodies or the government. If you don't follow them, then you are at a loss. Then you have the teachers and researchers. Today it's very difficult to get a quality teacher, and it is much more difficult to retain a quality teacher in an organization. Though we say that PhD is essential to be a faculty member, but a person with a MTech degree teaches much better than a person with a PhD degree. But the problem is we are not able to promote them to the next level unless they have a PhD degree. That's another challenge. So teachers is a challenge, and that is their expectation. I have a PhD, I need this much. So all those barriers are broken. It's no longer a structured pay for each category. Then as far as researchers are concerned, in the last 5 years or so, we have recruited about 150 postdoctoral fellows as a research track faculty. So teaching track, research track. Now their expectations are, can I get a seed grant of about 30 lakhs of rupees or 40 lakhs of rupees to set up my laboratory in your organization? So how do we account for those things? Probably we can mobilize funds to give them a seed grant. But what happens after 5 years, 6 years, how long the researcher will be there in the university? So that's another problem. Then the next one is the national, international partners and collaborators. Unless you perform well, there cannot be any partnership or a collaboration taking place. So that is another expectation for a higher education institution. IT and IT enablers, we have become very digital world. So how tech savvy is the university? Nobody wants to make a physical visit and see what's happening in the university. So IT and IT enablers have to be satisfied. Then the other one is the bank and financial institutions. When you happen to go for a loan or whatever, they look at other parameters, whether this institution will be in a position to repay the loan that's given by the bank. And finally, the eighth one, I should say, the founder. So usually the founder happens to be at the top, but in an institution now is at the bottom of the stakeholder list. So, but for an industry, you can if your customer is satisfied, the problem is solved. But here we have to satisfy all these stakeholders. Now coming to the present day academic institutions, it is not just like transferring the knowledge and give a certificate to them. It is no longer sufficient. We should prepare the youth for the future challenges and also prepare them for a sustainable career. If you are not focusing on these two, then we cease to exist in the society. Now, how do you do that? If you take the present case, the impact of COVID, we never imagined that we'll be teaching the students when they are not in the campus. We never imagined. But what happened now? There's a huge transformation, not in the teaching learning process, not only with the teachers, but also with the students. Now, once the COVID is over, when we wanted them to be back in the campus, you believe it or not, there was a huge resistance. Maybe for the first 2 days, 3 days, they were happy. After that, they were not happy because we happened to announce the cycle test after 10 days or 15 days. They said, we want only online test, we don't want offline test. It took us a week to convince them and put them in place. So what happened now is, we are moving from the generalized learning to personalized learning, generalized teaching to personalized teaching. And you can imagine, we have a strength of about 61,000 students. How is it going to happen? Only technology can help us. So the pace is decided by the learner now. The place is decided by the learner now. Time is decided by the learner now. So that becomes a very difficult task for higher education, or I should say it's a challenge. Then the other one is probably when you were in a college, whenever there is a call from your head of the department or from the principal, we used to shiver. We used to ask a lot of questions. Why the principal is calling me? What did I do wrong? Did I do something yesterday, today? But today the situations are different. When my secretary comes and informs me that so and so from such and such program wants to see me, I feel disturbed. The same state of being a student about 35 years ago, I am having the same feeling because I don't know his expectation. All along during our days, we have been talking only about academics, something about laboratory, not beyond that. But today's kids are talking beyond that. They want something beyond that. So that is another challenge to meet the demands or the expectations of the present day students. And all those things are there, you would have seen. Now, this quality in higher education institutions. Are you referring to the institution as a whole or your program? That's the first and foremost thing. If you are referring to the institution, that depends on the prestige and reputation. We can list n number of institutions. But you cannot refer, the programs run by a single institution cannot have quality in all their programs that are being offered, because each program has a different outcomes. And therefore, the quality should be looked only for the program, not for the institution. Many of you or many of us might have taken a decision to admit our wards in an X university. You try for this program. If you are not getting this program, take any program in that university. That's a very good university. So that may not suit when you look at the quality. Or you say that the quality of the program is good by going through the curriculum and the syllabus. Or are you looking at the quality of the program by looking at the students who have graduated from the program and where they are placed now, what is their role in the society? Or you are looking at the quality as how a student is transformed for the period of 3 years or 4 years of study in an institution. So these are some of the gray areas where we need to really look into and then say that it's a quality program. The All India Council for Technical Education has come out with outcome-based education. Each and every program has certain defined outcomes. The curriculum should meet those outcomes. The student should meet those expected outcomes, and then only the quality can be assured. I will touch upon those program outcomes a little later. As far as the quality assurance is concerned, I will not touch upon ISO, but I will like to touch upon accreditation and ranking. Accreditation, ranking, and ratings are becoming very, very important. That shows your presence. But if you really get deep into that, whether it reflects the quality of teaching, I am very doubtful. It looks at what is the infrastructure. It looks at what is the percentage of faculty with PhD. It looks at what is the student-faculty ratio. But how does it translate to the quality in teaching? We don't know. In India, we have two accrediting agencies. One is the National Assessment Accreditation Council, which accreditates the entire institution. And the other one is the National Board of Accreditation, which accreditates all engineering programs and management programs, sometimes pharmacy programs also. Now, if you want to get accredited by these two agencies in India, obviously we need to follow the outcome-based education. So through these measures, they are enforcing quality in academic institutions. In addition to getting highly ranked in NAC and getting 5 of our programs accredited in National Board of Accreditation, we also wanted to open up our engineering programs to different accrediting agency outside India. One with ABET USA, the other with IET UK. And again, we are successful in meeting their expectations. The main difference that I see between an international accreditation and our own accreditation is, in international accreditation, they try to help you to reach the quality. They will help you to move towards the quality. But here in Indian accreditation, they will try to find fault. This is not there, and therefore you are not eligible for such a grade. So there's a huge difference between the international ranking. They are hand-holding us. They tell us that this is not up to the mark. Can you improve that? We'll come back again. Then they come back. They see to that we rectify it. Even if you don't rectify at that point of time, they'll also give another 6 months' time to overcome that. So they believe that giving such inputs to academic institutions will improve the quality and not just finding fault with the institutions. With regard to ranking, we have been doing well in the NIRF ranking. Probably you are aware, out of 1,057 universities in India, we happen to be at the 19th place. And we are also ranked in the QS Times Higher Education and World University ranking. Though we are not so ahead of many institutions in QS and Times Higher Education, but I can boldly say that in the Shanghai ranking, out of 1,000 universities ranked globally, 14 institutions from India found a place, and we are one among them. So that focuses more on the research quality, not on perception or reputation and those things. So there are a lot of other things to do. Now, what does these accrediting agencies look for? One is how well the curriculum is defined. What are the expected outcomes from a student? How many add-on courses are there? How many value-added courses are there? How frequently they change the curriculum? They look at those parameters. Then the next one is the teaching, learning, and evaluation. How do you do all those things? What is the teacher quality? They look at those parameters. Then research, development, and extension. How good is your research? How many papers you are forced, you happen to publish in the last 3 years or 4 years or 5 years? How many patents you have filed? How many products or how many patents have been commercialized? So these factors have become an integral part of an accreditation process, and therefore a teacher does not teach alone. He has to get into all these domains and then prove himself so that he will be respected by the students. And obviously the infrastructure and learning resources. If you go to any institution, you will find a huge library, lot of books, but today most of the students, they don't go to the library. We have to convert that as a co-working space. Maybe you should have some 3D printer there, allow the students to make a prototype, or have some cafeteria within the library so that they can sip a cup of coffee and then discuss all those things. They can solve all those problems, all those things are there. Then the student support, as you all know, one of the important parameters that a parent looks for or a student looks for is what is the percentage of placement in a particular organization. Now that has gone now, the number has gone now. What is the highest package? Which companies are coming? If they are paying about 10 lakhs of rupees or 5 lakhs of, no, I don't want to sit in those companies. I want companies which are paying 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. These are the expectations of the present day students. And how do an institution support all those things? Then the last one is about the organization, the management, how friendly the environment is. So these accrediting agencies, they look at these parameters and then about the grades. I'll just touch upon 3-4 areas where I am trying to relate this TQM approach. Learner-centric approach. As I said, we have moved from generalized learning teaching to personalized learning teaching. About 5 years ago, a student walked into my office and then asked me, "Sir, I have a doubt. Can you clarify my doubt?" I said, "Okay, please let me know." He said, "Why is there a restriction on the percentage of attendance in the classroom? You say that a minimum percentage of attendance required to sit for the end semester examination is 75%. Why do you insist on 75% attendance? Have you ever asked our faculty?" Then I tried to convince him. I know he is right. Then when I happened to ask him again, he said, "Whatever that is available in the book or somewhere, the teacher is teaching the same thing. I am not learning anything new. The assignment that are given is a common assignment. It is not challenging one. So can something be done on that?" So now the teachers are preparing themselves to give different assignments to different students. And then some mini projects, some competitions. So all those things are becoming essential in an academic institution. It is not simply teaching and going away. Yeah, I was talking about the outcomes. Now we call what is called as the program outcomes. Now what are these program outcomes? They are statements which says that what is the expected learning of a student after undergoing this program. and how well he can use all those learning in his life. That is as simple as that. And what does it look for? It looks for the knowledge. It looks for the skills. It looks for the attitude also. So all along we have been not talking about attitude. Now that component is also built in here. There are 12 outcomes. They are called program outcomes. Now who designs these program outcomes? Not only academicians, not only industry experts like you, but also the professional societies are involved in coming out with these outcomes. Though the professional societies in India are not so much active in coming out contributing these outlines, but if you take US and other countries, they play a major role in drafting all those outcomes. Now what are these outcomes? There are 12 outcomes. One is the engineering knowledge. Whatever a student that he has studied in physics, chemistry, or mathematics or other courses, will he be in a position to apply those concepts in engineering? Then the second one is problem analysis. Is he in a position to analyze a given problem? Can there be a measure to check that? Third one is develop solutions for different problems. Investigation. Fourth one is investigations on complex problems. How do you solve all these complex problems? How do you debate? How do you discuss? How do you arrive at solutions? If there are many solutions, which is the best solution? Then the next one is multi-tool usage. You don't restrict yourself to what is pertaining to your own program. Look for something else beyond. And you should be in a position to use all the tools that are required to solve the problem. Then they talk about the engineer and the society. What should be the role of an engineer to a society? To take care of the humanity. Then environment and sustainability is another outcome. Communication is another outcome. Ethics is another outcome. Project management and finance is another outcome. Lifelong learning is the 12th outcome. Now how do you do that? It cannot be done in one course. Throughout these 4 years of study, if there are about 50, 60 subjects altogether, all these outcomes should be mapped in any of the programs there and see that the students are attaining all these outcomes. How do you measure that? That is by the assessment. How do you do that assessment? You go through the Bloom's taxonomy. Give some weightage for each level. 6 levels are there. Give weightage for certain level. See whether the student is meeting that level. Then you find the average in the particular classroom. If it goes beyond a certain number, then you say that the attainments are met. Academic flexibility is one another thing. Sometime in 2016, a company approached us. I was director of engineering at that point in time. They said, we are interested to take about 1,000 students for internship when they are in their 8th semester. It is not after the graduation, when they are in the 8th semester. You know, academic is always rigid. As I said, if a student is not having 75%, we detain them. So when it was brought to our notice, I was the first person to say, yes, we'll do it. What I'm trying to say is flexibility. Then how do you make the student to complete the degree, the 8th semester? There were only 2 papers and 1 project. I said, we'll run an accelerated course for these 2 courses. Then somebody said, they'll forget before the end semester examination. I said, conduct the examination also. Don't evaluate the paper, don't release the result. Then the other challenge was these people are going for a service company, whereas he is pursuing a program in genetic engineering, biotechnology. How about the project work? Then we gave an option. Okay, if you want to do the internship as well as the project, do that. We gave some extra time. And some of them said, no, we'll stick on to only that. Anyhow, we are going to be in a service company, we'll take care of that. Then we said, okay, that is your project. So we happen to give a lot of such flexibilities in academic institutions. If there are no flexibility in academic institution, and students will not be happy in that academic institution, a lot of creative things will come up once you give a lot of academic flexibility. Then the other one is, today all of us talk about the MOOC courses. MOOC courses are absolutely important, though it gained prominence during COVID, but before that we started practicing that. There was a mandate across the faculty members that each and every faculty should complete at least one online course every semester. That was from 2014, and it was a part of their annual appraisal. Then not only that, we allowed the students to take those courses and transfer those credits. The open courses, MOOC courses, that time is totally different from what is being offered. It's more proctored now. Those days it was not proctored. So we gave an opportunity for the students to choose at least 2-3 courses in any platform of their choice, any course of their choice, and then we transfer their credits. Now we are trying these open book exams. Now these open book exams are not challenging for students, it's challenging for a faculty member, because we are trained in a different environment. So we are looking at that, and a lot of tech teams are there, and that is the real learning place for the students. You may recall that in 2001, SRM University launched a SRM satellite. There were 54 undergraduate students from different disciplines. They joined together, designed and developed and launched a satellite. That is the power of the tech club. So we have n number of tech clubs there, and if any students comes to us and asks for an additional club which is not there, we will say, oh yes, we can start. So that is the amount of freedom that we are giving to them. Yes. Now, why quality is very, very important. India has emerged as the second most sought after manufacturing destination across the world. For manufacturing, obviously quality. If quality is not there, manufacturing will be very difficult, and therefore it is the responsibility of academic institutions to churn out good or quality engineers. But as an academician, we will not be in a position to deliver the best. Now it's here where I seek the intervention or the support from the industry. Now there is a category called professor of practice. If some of you are willing to come to the university and teach a few topics, you are most welcome. If your industry is willing to take some of our faculty for a 2-week internship or 3 weeks, that will be a better exposure for our own faculty to be in the industry environment, learn what is happening in the industry, because the industry movement is very fast. Academics are slow. When we design a curriculum, we leave it for 3 years or 4 years. By the time we change, we have moved far ahead. So such type of interaction will help us a lot. Can we think of having a joint lab in an academic institution? Can we think of holding such a conference in an academic institution? That will be an eye-opener for all academicians. So, as an academician, we cannot deliver goods properly. But if we happen to get the support from industry, we can do much better than what is being done in higher education institutions today. The awareness and alignment, yes, we have been giving a lot of awareness. Enough awareness is being created about the curricular courses, training and certification programs. We also give them a major degree and a minor degree. A major in mechanical engineering can be a minor in computer science engineering. Lot of specializations are introduced. Computer science with cyber security, computer science with OT, computer science with AI/ML, mechatronics with robotics. Many combinations are there in today's academic environment. Hands-on experience on projects, tech teams and hackathons certainly helps us to align all these programs to making a better quality engineers. So to sum up, excellent firms don't believe in excellence, only in constant improvement and change. So with this, I conclude my speech. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor, for such an insightful speech. And we now understand why SRM is one of the finest institutes in Chennai and India. And thank you very much for taking such painstaking efforts and the thought process. We have now understood how the institutes are thinking to take or to evolve their curriculum, their structure, their system in such a way to cater the needs of not only the students, but the industries and the country as a whole. It's a great honor, sir, for you to be here. And it's a great honor to felicitate you as well. Can I please have?
Thank you, Professor Muthamizhechelvan. And ISQ would like to express its gratitude by felicitating you with a memento, and I request Ms. Sarika, the President of the ISQ Pune chapter, to do the honors.